Okay, so as I mentioned. Oh, actually, before I go into that, I thought I'd better tell you what I'm planning to do today. For those of you who've been on Twitch for any length of time, especially those who've been on creative, you've probably all heard of Draw with JAZZA. He basically does a live stream every, I think, Tuesday or Wednesday now. No, I think it's Wednesday now. A live stream every Wednesday where it's just fun with art and everything else, and he's really entertaining. He's the person that really initially got me into Twitch in the first place. It was through his YouTube videos I started watching him. He kept mentioning every single video, oh, I've got a channel. Started watching the channel. From that, met Ink One, well, not personally, but you know, I've met the likes of Ink One, Voodoo Val, Sam Peters, and all these other all these other artists, and which has led me to do an art myself today. And every month, JAZZA, until just this last month, JAZZA had a competition every month called the Challenge of the Month. And one of them was one called, if I can show you, Level Cap. The competition's finished. It's not, you know, the prize has been given out or being given out or whatever. So this is not for an entry into the latest competition. But this is what, this is one I already did enter in. And I'll just show you some of the stuff that I did before, well, in a moment. But what I'm going to show you first of all is just sort of explain what I'm going to do. So once I've done the 5-minute drawing, I'm probably going to do a few sessions just for fun, just to warm up. And then so going back to this, as you can see the deadline, well you can't probably see, but the deadline was 27th of May last year. So the competition's finished, done, dusted. I did enter my piece, and I had 3 different concept ideas. One of them I entered for the competition, which I'm going to show you in a minute. The other one I did for fun, which again I'm going to show you in a minute. And the third one is one that I had an idea for, but with the shortness of the competition, the complexity of the image, I just didn't think I was going to be able to accomplish it within the time frame. So that's what I'm going to attempt today, at least to construct a concept, if not necessarily the whole thing. But we'll see how it goes. So anyway, just going on to that. So let's go into what I did. Now let me see if I can find the concept sheets first to see if I have them. Is that them? Thought I had the concept sheets written down here. Okay, no I don't. Right, so my initial idea was Knight Rider. But let me show you that one first actually. My initial idea was to do a Knight Rider theme, so basically the car Knight Rider was going to be upgraded. So I did my really bad David Hasselhoff. But if you look at any of the images on my profiles or whatever, or Instagram, or whatever, you'll see that I've changed the face, I've redone the face. But that was a part of it. So it's partly a Baywatchy themed stroke Knight Rider, a bit of a tongue-in-cheek. And that was the first piece of it. Put that down there. So I'm trying not to show you too much too soon. Oh, that was one of my other ideas, sorry. Now you probably can't see this very clearly, but that was Knight Rider. This is the original Knight Rider. And my plan was basically to convert this. My initial thoughts was to make this into, I don't know if you can see here on this one, into a 4x, you know, one of those monster trucks kind of vehicles. Again, I like the idea, but I just thought it wasn't going to really play as a concept. Now I might still come back to it at another point, but we'll see how we go with that one. But that was sort of where I was going with it. But then I decided, well, actually, let me simplify it a bit and make it a bit more, but also make it more dynamic. So I decided to make it more of a tank. So it's upgrading from from this car to a complete tank with cannons and everything. Okay. And so this was the sort of the concept that I had. So initially I was going to give them eyes and things like that, which I thought would be quite funny, with a no Baywatch sign in the corner. And that was going to be like a bumper sticker, which I still yet to add actually. I need to add on the bumper sticker. And then you got David running in the background, sort of chasing after it. So that was sort of where I was going with that. So I'm just trying to keep the order so I'm not getting them all muddled up. And then I just did a colour test just to sort of get an idea of how it's going to look with all the colours on it. I didn't use all of these colours, but I got the gist of where I was trying to go with it. And I was quite happy with the idea, and I would have liked to have submitted it, but again, it didn't quite, for me, in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it would have had the impact I wanted, because what I was trying to do was do it so that everyone would have done like the Hulk bigger, or, you know, a Smurf with muscles or whatever. And I wanted to try and do something that was a bit different. It wasn't the typical idea that people would think of. That was what I was going with that. But the one I did end up going with, which I now can't find, was actually Hulkus Maximus. Now I did colour this one in. There is a coloured version of this, and I just thought of him being sort of this massive god-like character, because Hulk is quite big and bulky anyway. And I thought you can't really have Hulk any bigger than he is. But I thought if I toned him down a bit, went the opposite direction, and made him more stable-minded, in power, in control, you know, authoritative. That was sort of what I had in mind. It still didn't quite, the concept wasn't quite this particular concept wasn't quite what I was going with, but it was sort of the idea was in my head, but I was happy with that. Right, so enough waffling with that. This leads me onto the final, the one that I really wanted to do, but it was going to be too complicated. I don't know if you can see it in the picture, but it was a take on Tom and Jerry, where Tom was a xenomorph, and I thought that'd be really fun to do and completely different and exciting. But I never really got to work on that and get that to be done. So once I've done the 5-10 minutes or however long of the random drawing, I'll work on this, and then towards the end of the stream I'm going to do the draw. Shift flash down at the bottom, and that's the dirty paper, so I don't want to use the dirty paper. Alright. Oh, right, okay, I need a new clean sheet. So bear with me 2 seconds, I'll get a clean sheet. That's a bit dirty. Ooh. In fact, before we do this, what I need to do is finish the concept idea of that piece, so let's get that out first. So this is my concept piece for the Tom and Jerry idea. So let's get designing. Okay, now this might not be exact representation of Tom and Jerry because I don't have reference in front of me, so I'm going to have to do it purely from memory. Okay, so in fact, let me sharpen this pencil, it's a bit dull. Okay, so let's start with my concept artwork. Right. I'm not going to do all, you know, normally you do all the construction lines and stuff like that. I'm not going to worry about that on this one because I've more or less done that when I was concepting it. No, I seem to remember Thomas has quite big ears from what I remember. I say it's obviously be a lot better if I had the reference picture in front of me. This is just the concept idea for the minute. This is Thomas the Xenomorph. It's not really a finished article, I'm just trying to get some kind of idea of where it's all going to fit. There were no xenomorphs of this kind of almost bone-like character. You can probably see where I'm going with this now, can't you? That really creepy H.R. Geiger type animal. I mean, I couldn't think of a better way of making Thomas more scary. And part of my reasoning is Thomas, apart from probably I think one, maybe two times Thomas ever succeeds in defeating Jerry. I thought this would be a good opportunity for him to, for the first time ever, actually beat him. That's where I'm going with this. I know I'm refining this more than probably I should be, but it's fun. That's what it's all about. As I said, normally use stuff like this, it's always good to use a reference. Because I'm not going to make this, not worry too much. This is all just in, creating from what I remember the movies. But I know it's not going to be accurate, so if someone was a particularly fan of Alien says that doesn't look like Alien ship and that doesn't look like Xenomorph, it's not really supposed to look exactly like it. I could if I really wanted to, I could do. Maybe on the when I do the actual piece, I might go to that level and actually get it looking as accurate as possible. But as this is just a concept, I'm not going to stress too much about how accurate it looks. Again, if you're just watching for the first time or whatever, I've reached my goal of the first 5 followers, and I've just completed this morning a picture for the first 5-minute drawing, which I said I was going to do as a digital file prize. I've done a tiny bit of refining work on it to make it look a bit more cleaner and clearer, but because it's it is what the prize, competition I set up was, just a 5-minute rough sketch using the JAZZA app, Party app. That's what the prize will be for the first 5 followers. The next one will be a 10-minute challenge, and depending on how quickly it takes for me to finish it, it will be it will certainly be a little bit more refined than the previous one, and maybe not be quite so comical. But in 5 minutes, there's not a lot you can do in 5 minutes. So so when I reach the 10, and I've got 4 more to go to reach the 10, then it will be a 10-minute drawing. I'm quite happy with it because this concept is starting to come about, and obviously you need some melty stuff here to show it's. But I've made that hole bigger because then I can do melting from the bottom there. The door to the other side. As I said, I hope you can see where I'm going with this. Now I would have liked to have this as a top-down camera, but every time I was doing that it kept slipping down or whatever, or the camera kept reversing the other way, which is a tad annoying. One second. Now that the light's changed, I need to choose my other glasses that are a bit more clearer. There we go. Okay, so let's get his eyes in the right place. So it's not a very good representation of Jerry, I understand that, but if I ever do this, come back to this and do it properly, I'll make sure I have the reference that looks like, actually looks like Jerry. He's obviously very worried. There's a lot in the tail. We might be working in a Sigourney Weaver vest, just to add to it. Okay. Okay. Let's get some detail in this ship. Tell you what, one thing I've learned though is with terms of design work and drawings is not, particularly when you don't the concept is straight, is not be quite so worried about how refined the pictures or whether the lines dead straight. Because I think I did, I think I was certainly guilty of doing stuff like that where I would just be so focused on I've got to get the lines right in the right place that I don't free up things and take my time with it. Because I don't know what you think, but these lines are not 100% straight. They're relatively straight, but they're not. They're still quite scratchy lines. They're not refined or tightened or anything like that. I'm just trying to complete as much as I can in the time I've got. That's sort of the goal, really. And apologise again if anyone is chatting and I don't respond straight away. Do bear with me. I'm more than happy to take questions or queries or whatever. But I'm still getting used to doing, seeing people's chat on stream. So if I don't see your chat, don't think I'm ignoring you. Just, bear with me. Repeat the question if you have to, and I will answer you as soon as I can. But just bear with me. Put some nice little detail in here. think what I might do is I might detail this one out first, and then later on when I'm ready to kind of do this properly, I'll redraw the whole thing. With proper reference and everything. Here's the outside wall. I'll try to add a little bit of 3D element on this bit. Not too much, just a little. I might play some of that tracks game later on today. I haven't played that in a little while, so it might be quite good. See how much more of that I can do. I said I wish that I had the time to do this concert for the JAZZA competition. I think, especially if I could have just orchestrated it really well, this could have made for a really good contender for the level up. Who knows? You know, if there's another competition later on and where I can do something similar, I could possibly still enter this as an option. You know, it's not a finished piece, so the concept's there. Because I know one of the things that JAZZA's doing, or any competition for that matter, is that he's doing he's going to do the competitions a bit more as and when he decides it's time to do a competition, as opposed to doing a monthly one, which is what he's been doing up until now. Which is a shame that he is doing it every month, no longer doing monthlies. However, you know, I did, in my own head, I felt I had to kind of pull back anyway. So in some ways I'm kind of glad, then I don't feel like I'm missing out. And when competitions do come up, hopefully I'll be able to give a bit more time to them. And with any luck as well, that he'll like to give longer, what's the word? Submission date. So we have a 4-week submission date rather than sometimes 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Because some of the what do you call it? Entry dates were very, 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 very short. And because of the work I do every day, you know, my day job basically, I just wasn't able to commit to that amount of time. But they're good challenges. You know, they are good. They are good to do. It's always good to do something different. And you know, something you might find that it gets you to think of an idea that you hadn't considered before. So they are. The challenges have always been quite good for pushing you and doing something different. Oh, I just realised that's the back of the alien. So I'll just change that somewhat. Bit of artistic license. Okay. I'm quite happy with this as a concept actually. I think it does kind of work. Alright. Okay. That's the xenomorph concept that I had. So you've got Tom over there with Jerry with the little flamethrower device, flamethrower weapon, being chased by Tom. So yeah. In fact, what I might do is have a go for the second half of the stream is do the Night Rider one, the one that I'd actually planned, which was the what do you call it? The I can't think of the word now. The monster truck version, just to get the concept in place.